Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Rick. I'm also known as Rick's Two Cents. Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live, along with my fellow co-host Roger from Roger Shop
Howdy, howdy.
and Andy from Andy Bird Builds.
What's up, everyone?
So we definitely got some messages thinking, what happened? What's going on with the podcast? You guys still doing the podcast? So evidently there were some people who missed our last podcast 3 weeks ago that said we won't have a podcast for New Year's and Christmas. So we're back to our normal schedule.
Yeah, our Wednesdays hit directly on those holidays.
Yeah, this wouldn't have worked out too well.
No.
Yeah, so I came back from Mexico and my furnace wasn't working
Oh shoot.
and my refrigerator went bad. So $9,000 later, I have a new furnace and I'm still working on the fridge.
Whew.
Well, if the furnace went out and the house was cold, wouldn't that keep the stuff in the refrigerator cold?
You would think, but the refrigerator is pretty warm.
Well,
Hence why I'm drinking a water tonight, not a beer.
It sounds like you need a beer though.
Mm-hmm. I do. So how you guys doing? I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
well, I am putting up with the cold because of the deal with the wife. We couldn't go to Mexico. We had to cancel the trip. So I get to spend January here in Illinois where it's cold.
And not just a little cold.
No, it's a lot cold.
It's a lot cold.
Yeah, I had to go buy 3 little electric space heaters. Yeah, but at least they got up and running.
Yeah, we got ice and snow this week. I think it was mostly snow up by you all, right?
Yeah, we have some snow here.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy though. Yeah.
Yeah. We got about 8 inches of snow
Oh wow.
on, was that Monday? Maybe Sunday. I can't remember. It all blurs together. And then we got about a 1/4 inch of ice on top of that.
Oh,
So-
that makes it fun.
Yeah, a lot of people lost power, and we were fortunate though. We did not lose power, but we were, school's going to be out this whole week. They canceled school this whole week, so my wife being a teacher, it messes that schedule up. But
You
yeah,
still
so the first week of the year seems to be off to a great start.
I used to live in Jersey for a while, and when I first moved there, they were saying like it hadn't snowed in like 10 years. And when I moved there, it snowed every single year. They were like, what did you bring the snow from Chicago? They canceled school because the town didn't even own plows.
Yeah.
No one even had shovels. It was like they freaked out, like it was like nuts. And I'm like, dude, it's snow. Like, and it wasn't even that bad. Just
Yeah.
they weren't prepared for it.
It's weird for me because I grew up in Michigan, so and I'm the west side of Michigan, and so we get lake effect snow every year and quite a bit of snow, and people just keep on same speed. They expect to operate the same way as if it was 70 and sunny, and down here in Kentucky, that is not the case. People, it just like I've literally seen school canceled based on a forecast, like a snow forecast, and yeah, it's and they just don't have the resource. They don't invest in the resources because we don't get a ton of snow, right? So the county has like 2 plow trucks, and it's easier just to hit the pause button, like just everything closes, and then wait for it to melt, and then go back to business as normal, as usual. So
Crazy.
Well, if anybody's got any questions out there, fire them off, and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely.
And I will bring up a little something here. I posted a video about a week ago. I did a little router bit holder on my CNC, but that wasn't the title of the video. It just happened to be in the video. And I was getting my saw stop set up in the shop. And I've had a lot of people say, hey, can you send me the G code for that? Well, yeah, I could, but odds are it isn't going to work unless you happen to have that CNC and that bit and using Oak Overlay MDO for a base. And no, And I've tried to tell them I may need to make a video about that. It's not like an STL or a 3D print file you can just share, or SVG for your laser you can just share. No, you can't share G code. It just doesn't work.
Yep.
So anybody out there with us just getting into the CNC business, and I'm sure Andy will attest to it, you can't do that.
Yeah, there's a lot more factor. Like, so the differences between like 3D printing, right, is additive manufacturing. You're adding to like something, and then CNC is subtractive, and there's a lot more force at play when you're removing something, and different, like all the different CNC setups, all the different bits, all the different materials. One that I really learned, actually, that a lot of people overlook: different clamping techniques. Because like if you put your clamps in a different location of mine, let's say I avoided my clamps if I have them sticking up, maybe you put them in a different spot and wham,
Oh yeah.
The other thing is like, there's just so many forces at play, so many factors at play. It just doesn't work that way. Now, Roger, I know you use Carveco.
Not anymore. Yeah, Carveco and I had a falling out.
Let me hear about it.
They required me to use the what they call that cloud-based file you have. I forget what they call it. I hate it. Where everything on every computer goes into your files on a cloud, and I didn't like that, and I don't use it, and they required it now, so they no longer have me as a customer.
Is that new? Like, did they just make that change, like the cloud-based stuff?
I don't know when I mean, I actually have the software, but they require you to have that. Well, I can't remember what that's called, but if you have a Windows computer, you're going to have that little cloud thing, where it saves all your files. So you go from computer to computer, and that's fine for some things, but I don't want them to have that. I don't want that crap there. They don't need to know that. Yeah. So I just canceled them.
So what are you going to now?
Well, haven't decided yet. I might go to VCarve. Don't know. I don't do all that much CNC work. This last little project I did with that router bed holder, I did that in easel. And actually, I designed it in Lightburn because I'm really so familiar with Lightburn. It makes it real easy for me to design an SVG there and just import it into easel and turn it into a project.
Nice. I forgot what I was talking about when I said, Roger, I know you. Oh, this is what I was talking about. Kind of similar to the reason why you maybe canceled, but the closest thing, like sharing G code, sharing vectric files is very powerful. So, what is it, like I just forgot the name of the file type. VCarve file type. Someone, I'm sure, will punch it into the chat there. Just forgot the name. It's escaping me. But anyways, you can share that file type, and so that file, like the VCarve file, and load it into. You have to have VCarve, and you load it in, and you can have all the toolpaths already set up in there, and all you have to do is go in and change the bits, for your setup. And then change the post processor to your machine, and they have hundreds of post processors in there, and then export your G code from there. So basically, you have the SVG right set up, and you have the toolpath set up, and you just need to customize it for your specific setup. That's the closest I've seen to sharing G code, but you're actually generating your own G code. So that's a big help. But yeah. Like someone said in LTX, I think maybe somebody said running someone else's G code is the fast track to breaking stuff. Bits are expensive. Yeah.
Dan had a question that says, what are you guys using for bookkeeping?
QuickBooks. As much as I hate it and detest it, I use it.
I was going to say that. I almost thought you weren't going to say that because I know they want cloud-based, right?
I am running a version from 2012. Which is on my computer. It works just fine for what we do. And the main reason I use it is because I do my own taxes, and I use TurboTax, and it makes it so simple to just import everything out of QuickBooks right into TurboTax, and it saves me just hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
But as far as QuickBooks itself, I hate it. I've always hated it.
Yeah.
I think it's bloatware, but it works.
I did my own for first couple years, and I just use spreadsheets, like just a Google Sheet, which is cloud-based. And I just tracked income and expenses, and then kind of had like just where I dumped it all, and then I would go through and categorize it. So it was just really down and dirty. And I did my own taxes at that point. And then now we have an accountant. And if you, like, for example, I pay my accountant. She does my bookkeeping as well. I send her everything. She keeps everything organized. Sends me a report once a month. I pay her $200 a month. I just send her the information. I don't have to think about it. Seems expensive, but for what it is, and having the peace of mind that it's done, especially because this is my full-time job, right? That's when I made the switch. When I started doing this full-time, like, I'm going to get someone else to make sure this is straight. And so $200 a month for my bookkeeping, and then she does my taxes as well. It's super easy and takes so much stress out of it. I would probably pay more than that just for the stress it takes off me. Am I doing this right? Did I miss something? Is the IRS going to send me a bill? I don't have to worry about that.
Hopefully she's not watching, right? Then they'll be like, you said you'd pay more. Price is going up.
No, there's nothing wrong with having a bookkeeper like that or an accountant. Prior to 2019, we had employees. And at that time, we had a bookkeeper because that gets so complicated, and having to send in all the federal stuff and the returns every month. And and I think we were paying back then $175 a month. But I mean, she already took care of everything, but I still had to have QuickBooks. So one thing we do is I run everything. All my purchases are on either one or two credit cards. And they get paid every month. They get paid off. But what's nice is I can download those statements directly into QuickBooks, and it puts them right in the proper categories.
That's awesome.
And it saves so much time. But otherwise, I hate QuickBooks.
I do the same thing with the credit card because I like banking the miles. Like I just flew to Mexico for free. So
we bank miles and Holiday Inn points. So I don't have to pay to stay at a Holiday Inn. Sometimes we take so many trips, I can't accumulate enough miles. But
you got to spend some more money, Roger.
when
it's only $1 a mile, Roger. I mean, come on. $500,000 for you to spend is not a big deal.
We like to fly first class. That makes it a little more expensive.
That's a little more.
Man, look at you. So we're getting on the plane going to Mexico. This pretty attractive woman sitting in the first class. She's sitting there. Looks like an Italian princess. I'll just say that, right? The big fake lips all dialed up. And my son slows down, right? And he just kind of looks like this. And she gives him this look. She goes, "Hi." He goes, "Hi." I was like, what the hell was that? Little boy got a little bass in his voice. He said, "Hi."
How old is he again?
He's 5. He just turned 5 yesterday. I was like, come on, go. Keep going. I said, "Hi."
One more tip that I just thought of that I have for people that are, we hit on it, but this is a great tip. Anytime you start making business purchases, even if it's like a side hustle and you're a sole proprietor, like it is the utmost important thing that'll save you so much headache is as soon as possible, separate your business expenses and your personal expenses.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Do not have them come out of the same account.
Right.
Open up another, if you don't want to get a credit card works great. But even if you need to open up another checking account, have everything come in and go like business wise, everything come into that account that you make for business, and everything goes out of that account for business.
Yep.
And because as soon as you start having money coming into your personal checking account and going out for business and personal, it gets super confusing and overwhelming. So separate the two as quickly as possible, and you'll save yourself so much headache.
LTX Design said, Andy, I switched my clamping system from double-sided tape or glue to dog holes with 3D printed edge and Craig inline clips. Best move I could have ever made.
That actually sounds like a really good idea. I use the old standard clamper. A lot of times I use these double-sided tape and the CA glue. But yeah, I never thought about.
I've seen people cut that little piece off the so that you can't open the clamp. Because you can't take it off.
Yeah.
So that way that they can flip it the other way. Then when you clip it, it's just pushing it towards the wood. You get what I mean, or no? Does that make sense?
On what? Like when you said you take that part off.
So let me grab one. So I don't, just so I happen to have a big one, but you can't take this off because it has a thing at the end.
Yeah.
Right. So I've seen people take it off and then flip this opposite. So when you're actually screwing it, you're actually pushing it against the wood.
Oh yeah.
Instead of trying to push two pieces of wood together, they kind of make their own. I've seen a lot of people do that.
The best, and I'm going to get to it, but based on this, I love the dog hole idea, and I saw someone, so they cut like 3/4 inch holes, like dog holes in their wasteboard, and then they had little short pieces, and maybe this is what you're similar to what you're doing. They had little pieces of 3/4 inch diameter PVC. And what they would do is they could move that PVC around and use it as a straight edge, right? Like, so you could lock it in. And then what they would do is they would take wedges and they would wedge in between the PVC and, like, say their cutting board that they're engraving in. And that's all that was holding it in was wedges in between PVC and the cutting board. And when you're all done, you just knock those wedges out, and it's free. So I've seen that too. But I'm gonna do some dog holes. I think it's a great idea.
Nice. Well, my Genmitsu 4040 has a horrible bed design. I'm gonna have to replace a bed on it, and it's a known thing. Everybody's having the same thing. It sags in the middle, and they're still making it the same way. I don't know what up with Saint Smart why they don't fix that. I'm gonna have to make a new bed for it. I may do one with dog holes.
Yeah. LTX Design said VCarve file is a CRV.
There you go. Yep, CRV files.
Clayton said, Rick said that coin you did is awesome. The point that I've actually been making these shorts on these coins is to show that I'm not just showing an end polished piece. I want to show you that it kind of looks like crap during the process. Because you have so many of these influencers, so many YouTubers, they make these challenge coins. They look phenomenal. So then when someone actually makes one, they're like, what did I do wrong? And it's like, no, man, that's what they legit look like. And then the elbow grease comes in. So I want to just kind of break that apart and kind of show the unpolished version. So when you do see the end, you're like, all right. So if you do something similar, just because it doesn't look like the end, that's how mine look too, So.
Nice.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year. A whole lot of Happy New Years.
Welcome.
Yes, QuickBooks has a client database. And that is where I do keep track of some clients. We have a lot of repeat customers. And it's some of them are on a credit basis, a few of them, because they do so much business with me, and then they just pay once a month. But I keep that pretty limited. I don't want to end up having to do debt collection and stuff. So
right.
Yeah, then you're gonna have to hire me. I'm gonna get 25%, right, Roger? Right? We're good. All right. Got 5 boys walking in baseball bats. It's only for coasters. Then you should have paid. Genesis
Boy,
Design says, "Who's got snow? I'm in Minnesota. I feel like I need to get a lawnmower out." Oh,
we got snow, not a lot of it, but right now it is 11 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Well, it's 18 here.
Yeah, and as I said earlier in the video, I came home from Mexico to no furnace. So in Chicago, that was not a good time. All I can say is, thankfully, all of my friends, for the most part, are in the trades. So I had a furnace installed immediately, which is probably, people can't do that, right?
That's what's nice about being in the construction trades is you make lots of friends in every trade. So if you need something, and a lot of the things I used to do, like I do plumbing, but I'm not a plumber. But I had friends that are plumbers, but they don't really know how to do electrical work. So it was a lot of, come on over, I'll give you a case of beer and get this done. And they might need their garage wired or a welder hooked up or something. Yeah, come on over, I've got a case of beer. And yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah, so I had a new furnace installed. It took them 5 hours. They ripped out my old one, and I never had a humidifier, so I have one of those now. And I have all these air filters, right? Like this guy up here, and and another one, because when I first started using the lasers a lot, my wife was like, "Our house smells like a hamster cage," because I love cedar. And then when I started using all these fiber lasers, it kind of smells like with metal, like you're welding.
Yeah.
So she was complaining. So when I put these air purifiers in here, it kind of removed that smell. Yes, I do have an exhaust, but it's still in your house. It's not like it's in a garage, and I'm in the basement, so your furnace is sucking all that smell and then pumping it through the house. Yeah. So I have an air purifier right next to the furnace, and I have one in my shop, and I have that. And now I just had them put an entire house air purifier. So I was running the hell out of some cork. And you guys know, if you're going to do cork, right, it's going to have, even with the extractor, and zero smell. And I was like, all right, cool.
That's cool. Man, I remember when I was so my first shop was my basement. I worked out of the basement for 4 years before, and then I took over the garage, and then I built this building. But that's been a 7-year process. But I remember this was before we had kids. I was like, man, I got to get out of here. Like when I'd do some staining in the basement, and then my wife would complain upstairs that she's like, it smells like stain. Yeah. And realizing that it was getting sucked up in the furnace. And I'm like, if I get too many fumes down here, is this thing going to blow? Like,
you know what I started doing is the longer enclosure.
Oh yeah.
This guy right here. I started sticking it on because it's hooked up to my vent. So after I do that, I just stick it in there. I'm not using that laser, so I'll just use it as like a kind of like a little paint booth, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, painting in the basement, it's risky, but it's like in the middle of the winter, what are you going to do? I got to get this project done.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I remember those days. And then we had kids, and then it was like, okay, this was different when it was just my wife and I. But now we got kids in here. Probably time to stop putting fumes in the house.
Yeah. Hidden Depths Woodshop says, what do you use for projects and order tracking?
The software that we use is called 6-Bit. I can track all my stuff on eBay, Etsy, Amazon, and our website sales all through that software. All the sales can come into it. And then when the item is shipped, the tracking number automatically gets sent to the customer. And the postage and UPS is also all automated. All I do is put in the weight, the package dimension, hit print, prints a label, uploads the tracking. It's also a couple $100 a month. But
say that, Roger. What was the cost on that? What was the name of that company again?
6-Bit, SIXBIT.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Cool.
We've got the Enterprise Edition, so it's not the cheap one.
Yeah, so I was. It's funny that Steve's not here on the live, but because I'm going to talk about coasters. That's why I say it's funny.
Oh man.
But, I had bought a large amount of slate coasters, and I kept saying I was going to actually engrave them on the Montport K40. I just never did it, right? And then we got this longer nano, and I was like, man, I think that's the perfect job for that little guy. and I was just pumping them out.
Oh yeah,
And,
they'll make them quick.
Yeah, super quick. There's no smell, there's no nothing in that thing, and I got a real nice color on that, But the point that I brought the whole story up is, I told my wife, "Hey, look up how much this is going to cost to ship out, right, to UPS." She's like, "It's like $12." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I just hurry up because UPS is about to close day before Christmas or whatever, coming before Christmas, so they make it day before Christmas. I run a UPS and the same exact shipping, they told me $68. And I was like, what? So I call my wife. I'm like, did you do something wrong? No. So we use Pirate Ship.
Yeah, I use Pirate Ship.
I was like, I could not believe that they wanted $68 and it was $12. So I paid the stupid $12 for Pirate Ship. And then I had to pay UPS $2.10 to print the label for me. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather pay the $2.10 than to pay you $68. How does that make any sense? Like, that was drastic. I know sometimes you save money, but
if you take something to a UPS store or even at a UPS counter, it's going to cost you a lot more. We use UPS World Ship. It's integrated in with 6-bit. We have what they call daily pickup. Driver comes by here every day. We don't necessarily have stuff every day this time of year because it's our slow time. But, and that costs us about $25 a week for that daily pickup. Then I have negotiated rates with a UPS rep because we do such a high volume that it's very, very competitive. But it's getting to the point now with since U.S. Postal Service came up with this ground. I forgot what they're calling now.
Ground Advantage.
Yeah, the ground advantage. Now, until it gets above 5 pounds, a lot of times it's cheaper to go to the post office if it's under 5 pounds.
Yep.
And we also have pickup from the Postal Service, so I don't even have to go to the post office.
Nice. So what we do, I use Pirate Ship, and we've used. There's other ones out there. There's Shippo. There's all these different shipping ones that have negotiated rates, right?
Yep.
And so we use Pirate Ship, and we have for 4 years. And so how I check my orders every day is I actually go to Pirate Ship, and I've got my Pirate Ship account set up to import orders. Our website's through Squarespace, and then we have Etsy. There's one more. Anyways, so you can go through the whole API integration, and it walks you through step by step. So all I do is hit import on Pirate Ship, and it imports all my orders from all my different places.
Nice.
And then I have my presets set for our products as far as packaging goes. So when an order comes in, I hit it autofills all the data, like the address data, and then I pick my standard package that I would ship and click through. So when an order comes in from seeing that order to shipping it out, I mean, it's a matter of minutes, right? It goes to the label printer, I print the label, stick it on the package. And then I've got a really nice mail lady, and she picks up all of our packages for us.
Nice.
I don't pay her anything other than I just forgot. I didn't do that this year. I give her a gift card at Christmas. If she's watching this, I apologize. I've got she's not watching this, but I usually take care of her at Christmas time for doing that because I don't pay her anything extra, and I just say, "Hey, here, take this."
Nice.
So our shipping process, that's really how we track orders is through Pirate Ship.
I like Pirate Ship because there's no membership fee. There's no fees at all. You literally just register at the email address. And, I use Stamps. What was it? Stamps.com.
Yeah.
And before that, I used to have your actual own meter. I had that. And then I did for a little while was printing through PayPal because PayPal had a different. So I've jumped around. And Pirate Ship to me has always been consistently cheaper, and hassle free,
Yeah.
So that's
now
kind
I will
of
say, note on that. I'm kind of disappointed in Pirate Ship. It's great. Don't get me wrong. But I got an email a couple months ago, and they said they're no longer going to integrate with Etsy. And I actually think it's on Etsy's side. I think Etsy is cracking down because they want people to
ship through them.
They want people to use from them. So they're cracking down on that. So no longer will it pull orders from Etsy, which is kind of disappointing. But
right.
Amazon is also getting to be a little bit of a pain with their fulfilled by merchant, which is what we are. We don't do the fulfilled by Amazon. That's just a fiasco there. But they, with their page where you bring it up, you know, like you want to confirm tracking. Well, first thing it comes up is buy shipping from us. Buy shipping from us. I'm not going to, even though you have a pretty good rate. My negotiated rate with UPS is a lot better than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody's trying to get their piece, keep their piece of the pie, right? Like, as far as they want to keep ship through us. I know eBay's the same way, or Etsy is the same way. I don't know how eBay is. I haven't sold.
Yeah, eBay wants you to use their shipping too, and I won't do it. Right. And, you know, Etsy is always trying to get you to use theirs, but like I say, my negotiated rate with UPS is less than what they could do. Actually, they can't even do UPS. They only do postal service, and since the rate I get through 6-bit is just the same as what Etsy offers, there's no reason for me to not.
Yeah, exactly.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Or if it ain't fixed, don't break it. Which is it?
Yeah, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. There you go.
So the good point of us bringing up all these different ship methods is when you're looking to create something to sell something, sometimes you want to do like reverse, right? Check out the shipping cost first, because you can't sell a $1 item and charge $14 shipping. No one's going to buy it. So sometimes Roger had brought up one of our early lives. You know, sometimes you would make it maybe at 3/4 inches smaller, or there'd be reasons you'd make it a smaller because you'd be under just that next classification.
Yeah, that's what they call dimensional weight, and a lot of people don't understand it. Just because it only weighs a pound, if it's 3 foot square and an inch thick, you're going to pay dimensional weight. It'd probably be about 20 some pounds in dimensional weight for that package. So just changing the package size can make a world of difference.
Yep.
Right. So
I've talked about that before in a video. Like, there's so many things that go into a product. Like, can I ship this? Am I going to sell this online? Can I ship this? Is it, like you said, with price? But the other thing is there an economical box available for this product, right? Yep. Is it an odd shape? Is it an odd size? Like, there's things that just don't ship well.
Yeah.
And so maybe you pivot and sell it locally, right?
My wife yells at me sometimes. I'll send something priority mail, and she's like, "Why do you do that?" And I'm like, "Because the box is free. Like, I know the shipping was more, but I have to buy that box then. So what am I really saving?"
Yeah.
A pirate ship. I'm like, no. And you know what? We do reuse a lot of Amazon boxes. Amazon is at my house probably 3 times a day, unfortunately.
I always wonder why they can't, and this is one of my faults with FedEx, and one of the reasons we don't use it. We might have 3 FedEx deliveries a day, all separate. Why can't they get their act together?
Yeah.
Amazon take these together.
Yeah, Amazon does that. They'll be 3 different times. I'm like, why? You know what I mean? They'll come bring a whole. I buy I'm addicted to monsters. I buy monsters from Amazon. They'll come to my house to deliver monsters, and then 2 more times to bring all other kinds of stuff. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I think with Amazon, not defending them, they don't need defending. They're a giant beast, right? But it's got to be hard from a logistics standpoint. Like, if things are in different warehouses,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, so this person's coming from here. Monsters are over here, but toilet paper is over here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we'll just send 2 trucks.
Yeah. Daniel said tiger claw clamps are the best. I don't know why those are so hard for me to say.
Nice.
I'm not familiar with those.
Yeah. Genesis Design said, so apparently my stepper motor driver for the Z-axis now to find a fix, replacement motor or upgrade.
What kind of printer is it?
So
assuming we're talking a 3D printer.
So this is actually an X-Carve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've talked to Shannon. This is Shannon. And yeah, it's an X-Carve Z. Shannon, correct me if I was wrong, or if I'm wrong, but his Z was losing. It was losing steps. It was getting deeper, even when he had like a flat bottom. It was like the longer it went, the deeper it went, even though it was supposed to be flat all the way across. Does that make sense? And it's almost like the bit was slipping, but he confirmed that the bit, the collet is fine. It wasn't slipping. He visually watched it, and so I think this happened in my Discord community. This conversation, so that's how I'm aware of it. But yeah. So basically, his Z was missing steps, some kind of electrical something. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon. But honestly, I know it's a 2018 X-Carve. I don't know if you all saw this, but X-Carve discontinued that machine. The original like X-Carve machine, they no longer sell that machine, which is interesting. And it comes down to budget. Personally, I would replace it. I would replace the whole machine. But if you don't want to spend that kind of money on replacement costs, then I'm sure you can find a Z. If it is the Z-axis motor, not sure. It could be in the board. Could be a wiring short. Could be a lot of different things. Electrical.
Yeah. How is the tech support for them? Are they pretty good?
I have no personal experience with it, but
yeah, that almost you kind of reach out to them and bounce off them and say, "What do you think?" and start there.
Yeah.
So I have to say, Roger has the big flex today, with the two Billy Badass printers behind him. Not one, but two.
Yeah, and I got a Bamboo A1 on the way, so they're
nice.
getting around a little bit. Got two X1 carbons back there. My kitty broke, but it's getting fixed. Board went bad in it, and the printer's several years old. It's had tons of use, so I can't complain. But yeah, there's going to be an A1 sitting back there here in a while.
Roger, already the kitties get a lot of miles on them. You just keep them going.
Yeah.
See, Sam Kraft, you're not the only one flexing. How you like that one? Come on, Roger's coming for you. That's badass. That's the same exact one you bought, Andy, right?
I got the P1S.
Okay. What's the difference?
It's just it doesn't have the LiDAR camera on it for checking your first layer, and it doesn't have the color touch screen like the X1 does. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same.
And then something about like print error detection, like spaghetti detection or something like that.
It won't have that.
Yeah, it doesn't have that either. So just a couple features. But man, I tell you what, I have been having so much fun printing things for the shop. So I printed. It's really, I don't know. It's got me. Don't get me wrong. I'm still excited about lasers and CNCs, but right now I'm kind of on this 3D printer kick. I just print. Oh, I can print that. Oh, I can print that. Oh, I can print that. So I printed a pendant holder for my CNC, so like my touch probe. And I didn't have to design any of these. It blows me away, all the STLs.
Oh yeah, find that stuff on Thingiverse.
Like you can find pretty much anything out there. And then we did some camera like I have all these camera batteries, and so we designed. I actually designed. We had to make multiples of something, like one slot. I made multiples of it, and then learned how in Bamboo Studio and learned how to, what was it? Basically merge.
Well,
and then do some kind of. I have to pull it. Actually, it's right here. I don't want to misspeak.
I keep saying that I think eventually 3D printers are going to be like scanner printers, right? Like way back in the day, you didn't have a scanner, printer, or fax machine. in your house, right? That was only a business. You know, it was like if you had a flatbed scanner, I'm like, whoa, and now it's like big deal, right?
Yeah.
So I think that eventually, I think 3D printers are going to become like having a printer in your house. Like it's just something that everyone has.
I think so too. I know, like I've heard of farmers, like large, like not just farmer with one tractor, but like large scale, like farming operations have 3D printers there where they can just print parts.
Yeah.
Like something breaks, or obviously plastic related, right? Like they need something and they can just print it. Yeah. So a mesh, Roger, you ever done a mesh? What is it? Boolean? Is that how you say that?
Boolean. Yeah.
Boolean. You ever done a mesh Boolean operation? That was interesting.
No.
I had to look it up. So,
Not in bamboo.
yeah, basically what it does, I think, and it was like subtract. I had to go watch a video on how to do this, but it was pretty cool. So what it did is it subtracted all of the redundant layers. So like, you know how, so think about like this cap. So I duplicated this cap 4 times, and I wanted to put them together, like so they were attached. And there's going to be some overlap, right?
Right.
And so what that mesh Boolean operation does is remove all those overlaps. Otherwise, the printer would print it exactly like it would print those overlaps. So you can remove them. But anyways, I've really been enjoying 3D printing.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Another addiction to the mix.
Yeah. Here, I think I'll grab a couple of the things.
Kevin said that's how I set up my project on my CNC. That's a lot of people are lighting those dogs. Does the dog holes? Oh, Rowanwood does dog holes and wedges. I think I've seen that video too.
Yeah, that's Browenwood. I saw that comment. Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does. Yep. All right, so this is really simple, but so we printed this. So I've got 2 Pocket Osmos.
Nice.
And it has all these batteries. And so I set up green means they're charged and ready to go. And red means they need to be charged. They're not ready to go.
Nice.
So that way it's kind of grab and go. So these pockets here, they had these individually on what Maker, is it Maker World?
Yeah, that's another one. Maker's World where you find files.
I think that's Bamboo's. I think they own that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, they had single one of these. I was like, well, I want all of them together. So that's where we combined them. And it was really like 2 clicks of a button.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we did this. Did the same thing with.
Oh, your cards?
With the SD cards.
Oh yeah. Nice. Now, if you want to get really wild with it, you can make yourself a lizard like this.
Oh,
hold the SD cards. Articulated lizard. So you've got a little face on it.
Oh,
that's cool.
Looks like my computer's about to die. Hold on, I gotta plug it in.
Yeah, they also make. You can make these little ones for the micro SD cards. Hold all your little ones like that. So that works out.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Roger, show me that again.
It's a little bitty thing. It'll hold a bunch of the small SD cards.
The micro SDs, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the point of us going down this rabbit hole is that even if you're not even if you purchase a 3D printer and your original intentions was to sell products, you may find yourself using it for practical things for your own.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just blown away. I'm blown away with Bamboo. Obviously, I bought my own, and it's my experience. So it's not like it's sponsored or anything, but it's super impressive. Like just to watch it print and the accuracy and the quality of prints. I know there's other printers out there that can do similar stuff, but it's just crazy to watch it do its thing.
And here's another thing you can do. Every tool you see on my board there is on a 3D printed hanger.
Nice.
Cool.
You know, even the radio is on a 3D printed hanger.
Yeah, I have those. I have those tough book that we click them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started doing a lot of work in the city, and you are not walking 3 blocks back to your truck because you don't have a wire nut, right? Or you don't have a 5/16 screw. Like, no. So you're bringing everything. You know, I got one behind me, one in front of me, and I'm pushing it. You know, I don't need it all. I got it all. It doesn't matter. You know.
And make sure you got a good supply of 10mm sockets because they disappear.
Yeah, that and 8. David said the problem with Exchange CRV files on vCarve is that the version 11 cannot process version 12.
That would kind of make sense, I suppose. You know,
Yeah.
Sometimes things are not.
So what was
the word?
So it's one of those things like you can open 11, a version 11 file on 12, but you can't open a 12 on 11. I think I said that right.
That would make sense because sometimes in Lightburn, if you've got a file that was made in the latest version, and you put it on a computer that's got an old version, then it doesn't open right, if at all. Yeah,
so I think that's the case.
Yeah. Chris said, "Snow, what's that?"
Yeah.
Hey, man, we don't need no negative attitude on the live, man. You're gonna have Clack over there posting videos again of ice cubes on his windshield.
37. I can handle that. I can handle that right now. No, it dropped down to 10. It's getting colder, so.
Yeah. South Indiana, we got 12 inches and it's 17 degrees. Yeah. Getting cold. So I have a question for you, for the audience as well as you guys as well. What is something that you haven't done that you want to be doing that you're going to challenge yourself to do in 2025? What's something that you've been reserved on doing and you're going to make yourself vulnerable to something new? Stretch your ability.
Actually, it's something I'm building.
Okay.
I am building a flip cart. Everybody has these flip carts. Well, this is going to be like a super heavy duty, over-engineered, off-the-wall cart. I'm putting my great big 12-inch DeWalt miter saw on one side of it and my DeWalt planer on the other side. Both those things are extremely heavy. They're very, very big. And I've got some really serious pillow blocks and bearings. I just started making it today. I just started to fabricate it. So we're going to see how that works out. I've been wanting to do that for several years. Because that'll have one cart take the place of 2 carts now.
Cool.
Nice. Anything with you, Andy?
I'm trying to think. So this might be cheating, but it's going back. So today I started assembling the Shapeoko 5 Pro. So adding that to the shop and smaller CNC. And so a lot of people don't know this, or if you followed me for a long time, thank you, because that'd be amazing. But I started with the Shapeoko 7 years ago. And for space, I ended up selling that first one, a Shapeoko 3. And so now it's really cool to get a Shapeoko 5 back in the shop. I've used the Avid exclusively for 2 years now. And I feel like I'm kind of getting back to the Avid's not going anywhere. They're side by side, but the Avid's not, it's in a different class for a reason, right? It's not necessarily approachable. It's not a hobby desktop CNC. So it's really cool to get to go back to kind of the beginning and
full circle.
Yeah, full circle. So I'm excited to do some projects on it and kind of work through that process again. And yeah.
Nice. I would say that I was inspired by you, Andy, as well as Roger. And I would say that being a lineman, I was just work, 100 hours, 115 hours, 115 hours. My daughter's 16 years old. And I'm thinking like, holy shit, she's going to be down to college soon. Where's time gone, right? And I'm making all this money for my family to live in this big fancy house, big fancy cars, and we're living in trucks, cheap hotels, and and I see Roger doing his vacations, spending time with his family, and I'm like, I need to refocus my life, and I need to switch gears a little bit. You know what I mean? And reprioritize what's important to me. I don't need a $115,000 Escalade. I don't need an SRT8. I'm not gonna let go of my Harley, but but I don't need those things. And I said, my kids are not gonna remember the things I bought them. They're gonna remember the memories I created with them. Right? When I'm dead and gone, that's what they're gonna remember. They're not gonna remember, hey, Dad always bought me the newest iWatch, the newest iPhone. They're gonna remember the vacations or the projects I did with them or the time that I spent with them. So Roger, I'd say that really that was inspired from you. So thank you for that.
Well, yeah, and family is important, extremely important, and you don't really realize how important until you almost lose somebody near and dear to you right after Christmas.
Yeah.
So I had quite the scare, quite the experience, and because of that, that's why I'm not in Mexico right now. That's where I would be otherwise. But yeah, it's really a wake up. Really a wake up.
Yeah. And then Andy, I've been wanted to do the CN thing for a while. Before I even invited you to the live, I've been watching you, and kind of learning because I'm somebody who I guess I make an informed decision. I don't make knee-jerk reactions. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day it's going to be profitable and there's a reason I'm going to do this. I don't buy something just because I want to have the biggest baddest of anything. Or I'm in no competition with anyone other than myself, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure when I'm making a decision that's financially for a reason to have gain, that I'm going to be able to return on my investment and quick. So I'm ready, and I'm gonna do that and make that next move. And watching a lot of your videos, watching the content. I even said to someone that I was going to take your course, and they laughed and they said, "Why would you pay him?" And I said, "Because that's how he makes a living." So yeah. So thank you both.
It's awesome, man.
Say that. Yep. Well, we'll answer this question here that's up about. It says, "Hello, started watching a month ago. So started with the laser late last year when I had a desktop CNC router just as a hobby. Is it too much for an age 55 plus woman to learn? Absolutely not. I never had any experience with a CNC until I was over 60.
There you go.
And of course, I started, my first toy was a 3D printer, but you learn a lot there. And then as you move into lasers, you learn more, and it makes it a little bit easier if you've been using a laser to get into a CNC, although it is more complex. And I'm sure
Don,
Andy will attest to that.
Don, I'm going to say too is that I think Facebook is going to be your best friend, besides YouTube. And the only reason is because that particular CNC, go to a group that's that particular CNC group, right? And you're going to find a bunch of people that will be willing to help you when you're stumbling.
Yeah, I echo, what they said. And I think you're taking the right path though, because you have the laser experience, and it's not exactly the same by no means. Like Roger said, it's more complex. It's a little steeper, but it's less steep now that you have that laser knowledge.
Yep.
And so I always, if people are always like, if they ask me, should I buy a laser or buy a CNC first? I ask them what do you want to do, obviously, but also like, what is your background? What is your experience? And if they're ever like scared of like the complexity of CNC, like routers, I'm like, why don't you get a laser first? Get a laser first, and kind of learn those concepts. There's a lot you can learn with laser that translates to CNC. Not everything, but a lot that you can learn. So
it does almost seem like a gateway drug, so to speak. Like you see people kind of progressively moving that route, expanding. And then you're also building on your own clientele. Like you're already doing laser stuff. So, there's things you can't do with the laser because you're limited by it, but you've already kind of start building that clientele, and you may be able to sell these particular items if you were to have a CNC. That's a big difference too, versus starting from square one, and you don't have that clientele at all. So you do have a little bit of an advantage, you know, because you at least have existing customers.
Yep. Yep.
G code mentioned target exceeds machine travel, machine position safely retained, alarm may be unlocked. Right click the device button to reset the connection. Job halted. Longer 20.
I think there's is he another comment right after this? I thought I saw two.
Anything above 700 millimeters, I get
Oh,
that.
7,000 millimeter. What the hell are you doing at that speed? I mean, just making the laser move around, but you're not going to really do anything. That's pretty fast, unless you're like trying to engrave on notebook paper.
Yeah.
So is it I'm just guessing here. Is it possible that he's just like moving so fast? You know, I used to get some error on this laser when I was engraving, and like in order to engrave, you have to go beyond your project size, because you need some deacceleration time and acceleration time. It's interesting though on the Z, like I don't get the Z. Like I usually get that on like, you know, I'm exceeding my X like width, right?
Or the other what are you using for position? Are you using absolute coordinates, or using current position, or I need to kind of know that too. If you're using current position, you could actually run it out of its travel range. If you're using absolute coordinates, that shouldn't happen.
The other thing I'm going to say, and I'm nicely saying it because we're friends with Longer, but if you saw me with my Longer B1, like I did some videos and I didn't do the unboxing video. And the reason I do the unboxing video right away is because I was having so many problems with it. And I finally gave Longer like a long list of things like, I'm having this problem, this problem, this problem. And they gave me all the resolutions to them.
Yeah, Longer tech support's real good.
Yeah, and half of them were software updates. Hey, make sure don't use the driver we gave you, download this one, use this one, because they've made updates. So what I would say is, if before the machine's acting goofy, if you're capable of updating Lightburn, update Lightburn. And if you don't have the latest and greatest driver on the laser, go to the manufacturer website and download it, because you could be beating your head against a wall doing nothing wrong, and that's why they make updates.
I just saw Bosnian Trucker commented on this. He said he's using absolute chords.
Oh, that really shouldn't happen. I also saw he was using it on paper. I would try just increasing your speed a little bit and lower your power.
Yeah.
So the acceleration and deceleration at that speed is just, a lot of the laser manufacturers say, we can run X thousand millimeters per minute. Well, there's no point in it, really. You're not going to do anything.
Yep.
Yeah, Daniel said, I don't sell anything for less than $10. I had a $35 rule. That was kind of my minimum. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
But, everybody has their different rules. But the same token is, I guess, if you have cheaper items, it's the quantity, right? Like Roger, he doesn't sell a coaster to a bar and they buy two, right? He's selling
they buy 100 at a time.
Right. And when someone also buys 100 at a time, they're not going to pay you $5 a coaster. You know what I mean? They want to break, so, give and take.
Yeah, they're getting back to the coasters again. If you're doing custom ones, and I do a few customs for people with, like Rick's been doing the monograms. I don't do quite that, but some other custom stuff, I just do a few. That Longer Nano is just absolutely fantastic for them custom jobs. Or if you're doing a prototyping too, it's so fast.
So when I took the slate coaster, right? So I did it, and if it's off or whatever, I just sanded it, did it again, got it adjusted exactly the way I wanted, wrote down, my everything, and then saved the file, and then so if I have to open that up again or whatever, and I just keep using the same one as my sacrificial, coaster.
That's a good idea.
Just sand it right off.
Yeah.
You know?
I never even thought about sanding slate.
So there's all my colors.
Yeah, that works on slate. Doesn't work so well on ceramic tile.
Right.
No.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, so I've been doing family coat of arms, and I've been doing monograms. And my wife was like, "They're never going to sell, Rick. You need to lower the price." And I said, "You don't understand something. People will pay more for a customized item. Like, this isn't like a dumb saying, like, just you can go on Etsy right now and go buy like cup holders sayings, and they'll give you like 100 goofy sayings about drinking, fishing stuff, all kinds of things. Maybe they're gimmicky, whatever. But when it seems a little more personalized, like their monogram or their family coat of arms, you can charge more of a premium for that. And I sold out those slate coasters in a couple of days. So, I ordered 500 more. I won't get them till February something. You know what I mean? I guess I can go on Amazon and buy them, but the difference is too, you buy them from Alibaba for 22 cents. Or if I buy them from Amazon, they're, almost $1.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so definitely customizing something you can add a premium price. Empire Laser Fish. Go ahead.
It says here, do you think the 3D print business will come to a crashing end because of the flood of cheap printers entering the market? No, I don't, because a lot of the people will buy these printers and get frustrated with them right away, and then they'll find them on Facebook Marketplace. And I see that a lot around here. In fact, a lot of the Ender 3 V2s that I am now starting to phase out, that's where I got them, was on Facebook Marketplace, because people were, it don't work. Here, $50 and it's yours. So that's how I got a lot of my printers. And unless you take the time to learn how to design something and learn how to use it, and then learn how to market what you're making, no, you're not going to make a business out of it. You have to be dedicated to it.
The other thing that I would say, that the reason I see it to be a scalable business, we always say, right, having one is like having none. You have more than one, especially because 3D printers are still slow, right? Even the higher end ones, it takes some time. You're not banging that out in 2 minutes. It takes time.
Yeah.
Grab one I just took off the bamboo here.
Yeah. So it's out.
So this here, that's a 3-hour print right there.
Right.
Yep.
That's a dust collection adapter. That's a 3-hour print on a bamboo. Now, if I take the same one done on a Creality, it's 6 hours. So you're twice as long on a bed slinger as you are with a Core XY, but there's a huge cost difference between the two different printers.
Right. So if you thought you're going to buy a 3D printer and be able to scale a business that would take 6 hours to make one item, it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. This comes down to, I've had this conversation a bunch, so I don't remember the last time I had it, but it comes down to all right, everybody go back to when they were in high school. Imagine you wanted to be like Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whoever you wanted to be like. And you're like, I just need those shoes. If I can just get those Nike shoes, I could dunk the basketball and I could drain 3-pointers and, I could, fade away in the corner. And I'm playing the NBA. Just takes the shoes. And it's a lot the same thing with tools, right? And we see people do this all the time. Like if I just had that 3D printer, I could turn this into $100,000 business. And it's like, takes a lot more than a 3D printer.
Right.
And I see it with CNC all the time, right? Because I'm predominantly, I spend most of my time in that space. Just because you can buy a $3,000 CNC or whatever, $5,000 CNC, that does not equal sales.
Yep.
It actually just enables you to make things. It actually has nothing to do with sales. And so it's the same concept of like, if I just so there's a lot of people that they're buying them, right? And like Roger said, they're turning around and selling them because they realize there's a lot more involved.
Yep.
And they don't want to go. A lot of people don't want to go through the learning curve. And actually, right now here locally, there's a lot of must have been Christmas gifts of 3018 CNCs, the really generic ones.
The cheapest
cheapest
one on
ones you can
Amazon?
find. Yeah. I saw several of those on Marketplace.
Where they learned that from?
$99.
But yeah.
Daniel said, I've been using my 2 A1 minis constantly.
Nice.
Run them. Yeah, 3D printers are becoming appliances, they said.
Yeah, that's a lot like lasers too. They're starting to become appliances.
LTX Science says the military has 3D printers on their ships for replacing parts at sea. I seen that, the Navy. Yeah, I seen it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll bring up one other thing. Technically, it's a do not disclose clause thing, but I'm retired now, so I'll say it. John Deere uses 3D printers to print the cores for their castings on cast iron. And It was the damnedest thing I ever saw, 3D printing refractory sand. But that's how they make their cores for the, like manifolds and stuff at their engine works or at their foundry. It's all 3D printed with refractory sand, and then they do the casting. I was just in awe of it, and that was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
Of course, not too far from here, somebody 3D printed a house.
Yeah.
That's here in Illinois. Rick might know about it. But
yeah, it's crazy. It was all over the internet. Yeah. I've never seen it in person.
I haven't either, but saw some of the video of it, and they're 3D printing this house with concrete.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
wow.
A hell of a 3D printer there.
Right?
Daniel said he designs in Onshape.
I've heard that's difficult.
I have never tried to use it.
Me either, but I just heard it's difficult.
ATG Restored said, if you print products with a 3D printer, can you sell them? Or do you have to own the design to sell it? Like if you download stuff off Thingiverse, MakerPlace, etc.
If you download a file from Thingiverse or MakerPlace, a lot of them have what's called a Creative Commons license, which means you can make it for yourself, but you can't make it to sell. If you're going to make something to sell, let me grab one of these over here. I designed these. This is a set of risers for a longer Array 5 or an Atom Stack A10 or A30 laser. So what it is, you got the base, you mount to your board, then you've got a 25 millimeter riser and a 50 millimeter riser if you're using like a rotary. And with the slots on here, that's where the laser sits into. And then every time you put it back in, it's in exactly the same place. So if you've got a layout grid on a baseboard, this makes it perfect. And we sell hundreds of these. That's why I've got them handy here, because it's one of our most popular things. And fortunately, this is one design I made that'll fit more than just one kind of laser. But if you get like a Jacoda or an Atom Stack or Atzer, every one of them's got Sculpt Fun. They've all got their own design for legs, so I have to design all these different bases. But yeah, you can sell stuff if you design it, but you can't just like grab stuff off Thingiverse and start selling it. I guess you could till you get caught.
Check with the seller before you go crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andy, go ahead. I was just going to read it.
Yeah, go for it.
Andy, look into Gridfinity. What is it?
Gridfinity.
Gridfinity.
It's a wobble rabbit hole, a wonderful rabbit hole. So what is that?
I just Googled it real quick. Looked at it. It says the modular open source grid storage system for your workshop. So it looks like they're all basically just looking at this really quick.
And there are a ton of things you can get to fit in that.
Just STL files, right?
Yeah, they're just page after page after page of things on Thingiverse that'll fit in a Gridfinity system.
Yeah, so it's a whole shop organizational system that you can 3D print. This is dangerous. I'm going to be printing things.
And it's great for things that are in like a toolbox and a drawer, a pull-out drawer, because then things don't like bounce all over the place. I haven't used it myself. I've got my own system, but I've looked into it now, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
There you go.
Thanks, John.
So if you made it this far in the live, make sure if you're not already, subscribe to our channels and go ahead and smash that like button and hit the bell for notifications so you're aware when we do new videos. And we appreciate you watching these with us. LTX Design said, I've been kicking around the idea of adding X1C alongside my P1P, but waiting for info on the new machine they have coming. My arms is still the
AMS.
bane of my existence. I'm ready to throw it out.
I have had no problem with AMS, none whatsoever. But I use strictly just bamboo spools in it. I've got desiccant beads inside it that are in little containers. I got one of them here too. So you can 3D print these things and then fill them with desiccant beads, and it'll keep your filament dry. And in case anybody's wondering about why I can have filament just sitting out, I don't know if you can see this or not. There's a humidistat or a hydrometer. Our humidity level up here is 10%. The temperature up here is 67, but yeah, we're at 10% humidity up here. So I'm not worried about my filament getting wet from humidity in the air. In the summertime, it's a little different story.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've had my P1S with my AMS. I think I bought it Black Friday. And I had one issue with my AMS, which was really simple to fix. It took me way too long to fix it. But on spool, so there's 4 spools, right? And spool slot number 2, the front roller that spins the spool was like one part of it was dislodged. I don't know, Roger, have you ever seen that? Like they just snap into place, and one end of that spool roller was not snapped in place. So I literally just snapped it in place, and I haven't had another issue.
Nice.
So there's in case anybody's wondering what AMS is, there's one right there.
Yeah.
It has one empty spool in it right now, but it also has, like I've showed that little humidification indicator. I've also got one on the outside up here. So there's one on the inside, one on the outside. Of course, they're matching right now because humidity is so low. But the little desiccant blocks sit in here. There's 3 of them. And when the desiccant turns pink, I just take those beads out and throw them in the microwave for a few minutes, and they turn blue again, and I can put them right back in.
Yeah, Roger, until you said that, I never knew you could do that. That was a thing. That's crazy.
Put them in the microwave?
Yeah, I never knew that.
Me either. Is it only certain ones?
Yeah.
Like
what I did with it.
Yeah, I just
Got a
didn't even know
whole
that
jug
was
of
a thing.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Daniel said Maker World rewards designers, so he's been posting his designs on there.
Right there's what I use. And they're
Blue.
blue. And when they get when they absorb humidity, then they turn pink. You can dry them out in the oven or in the microwave. I also use those on my water extractors around when I'm painting and stuff.
Did you get that on Amazon?
Amazon, yeah. Like most things, Amazon.
LTX Design said my arm is now throwing airs of the motor being overloaded and tangling the filament in the enclosure. I use bamboo filament and spools. Any advice?
Well, I don't know why it would get tangled. Are they tangling on the spool itself, or is it just tangling in the back of the EMS? Since each one is in its own PTFE tube, I would think that'd be kind of unlikely, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't had any tangles at all. So I do know, and I'm sure LTX, I know you probably have already done this, but Bamboo does have great documentation in my experience of what I've looked at.
Yeah.
So maybe check some. It sounds like something's pinched. Something is not flowing properly, because my guess is that the tangle is happening. There's some kind of resistance somewhere, and then that's making the motor overload.
Or if one of the PTFE tubes are not seated all the way.
Yeah, maybe.
Or if you've actually worn a slot in one of them, because they do wear out.
Manuel said, you guys are killing me. I just added a laser to the CNC. Now you want me to get a 3D printer too?
Hey, just tell your wife that
you have a drug problem.
that it was just 3 guys on the internet. Like, don't blame me, blame them.
David said the Bamboo A1 Mini cannot use a lot of filament types. Are there ones sufficient to use to do all reasonable things?
We should be able to use PLA and PLA Plus, PLA Professional, and probably PETG. TPU is probably not a good candidate for it, and ABS or ASA, absolutely not.
There you go. Dana said, I think I'm finally going to learn to use Blender this year.
Software, learn the software.
Yeah.
I've heard that one is difficult as well. Difficult's probably relative, right, to like the person, but.
No, I like this. They have local hardware that sells 10 millimeter sockets in a case marked in case of emergency. Yeah.
Ace is the place, right?
And it's not just a running joke amongst electricians about 10 millimeter sockets. Disciplinary mechanics have the same problem.
Yeah. Andy, if the 5x10 gets too big, I would be happy to trade my 4x8.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
There you go. Chris says, Don, I know an older woman that was reasonably new to CNC. She now makes custom parts for a company that reconditions and repairs jukeboxes and make it a killing.
Sweet.
There you go. A niche. She found a niche. We say that all the time. Find a niche.
Yep. I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah. Dave said, I'm retired in a few months and looking to get into CNC hobby business. So my question is, do this like your first adventure, or have you dabbled in anything else? Or are you jumping straight into CNCs? Love the questions, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. That's why we're here. Let's see. Here we go.
Let's see.
Chris said people will invest in machines, but not invest in that education to use them properly.
That's quite true.
Yeah,
so many people are used to the plug and play thing anymore. Take it out of the box, turn it on, and it works, and without having to put any thought into it. And that doesn't work with these things.
It's not a microwave. Even though they keep saying they're becoming like appliances, they're not appliances. Although I would say, even though appliances now are getting so tech savvy, what the hell?
Well, for as many years as we've had the microwave we have in our kitchen, if I want to do the thaw or soften cycle, I still got to look at the card on the side of it to figure out how long and what buttons to push.
Yeah. Yeah, the refrigerator I said that went bad. It's a KitchenAid Platinum. I don't know, it's like $5,000.
Yeah.
The thing is so damn fancy. You open up, it has like, it looks like one of those rock lit kits that you put under a truck that's lifted. I mean, it's like blinding. You open it up. You know what I mean? It's like, I've never seen a fridge with so many lights, right? You better keep it clean because you're definitely not hiding anything there if somebody opens your fridge, right? And it's like all these bells and whistles. Like the door has so many settings. The damn thing broke. What, 4 years later? Yeah, crazy. John said, I think that it's less of a printers getting cheaper and more simple prints becoming commodities, and profit plummets. Huge advantage of creating your own files.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to design your own thing and find your niche, as you know we talk about all the time. You have to have a market. Find something that nobody is doing or very few people are doing, and that's where you want to head. And it's got to be something you like to do. I mean, you don't want to make something that you actually hate manufacturing, because you'll get bored with that real quick.
Yep. Stay away from Disney products and Harley Davidsons. Don't copy their stuff.
Yep.
They will get you. They will come with a vengeance.
So the interesting thing is, and I see this in the CNC world as well, I get the comment like, market saturated, so many CNCs out there. And it's like, I disagree. I mean, I disagree. Like, if you're making the same thing as everybody else, like if you're engraving cutting boards and trying to sell them at Etsy, that's not going to work. I'll just tell you right now. There are thousands of people doing that, trying to do that. And so Yeah, I think actually in a video last year, like I don't know, I get passionate about this. Like I don't know why, but like it takes effort, of course, but it is totally possible to create something and that isn't that someone else, you know, isn't doing already, I guess. And like the surface level stuff. So like when 3D printers, and I guess what I'm trying to say is when 3D printers and CNCs, the first people that got into it, like of course they could make basic things and sell them because that was 10 years ago. Well, we're not in the same place as we were 10 years ago. You see that with YouTube. People that started a YouTube channel 15 years ago, they were the first ones to it. They could make a video of a cat laughing hysterically and get millions of views.
Yep.
You can't do that anymore.
Nope.
And so, but that doesn't mean that you can't be successful. It just means that you need to, you need to put more effort into it. You need to learn something different. You need to do something you're passionate about. And yeah, see where it takes you. But you can't stick a piece of wood or a raw filament in a 3D printer and just hit go and expect it to pump out cash. That's just not the reality, unless you're Roger.
Yeah. Well, my designs it took me a while to get the market. It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah. So Empire Laser Creation said, Rick, I'm in a market for a 5-watt UV laser. What do you recommend, the car maker or the Omni? Or I would personally, I would go with Pascal. And that's the sales, the Houghton, or that's the dark gray one, the Raykin that's behind me. The sales rep for China directly, his name's Pascal. I'd go with them. And the only reason that I'm saying this is because I know that you're already tech savvy. I say this all the time. Buying a rebranded laser stateside or buying a factory direct, you're not paying for the laser, you're paying for the service. The reason you're paying double the cost for a rebranded laser is because you're paying for tech support. You're paying for a Monday through Friday. And the only advantage I would say is purchasing factory direct is anytime I've ever had a problem, it's never when it's ideal time. It's not Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock. It's 2:30 in the morning when I'm pumping out a large order and I'm humping all night long because I got to get this out. That's when something always breaks for me, at least. So coincidentally, whenever I ever had a problem, it was actually to my advantage because at 1 o'clock in the morning, they're awake. I'm like, hey, this is doing this. What do you guys think? But so being that you already have a laser background, if you have the advantage of being able to buy it factory direct, I'd save the cash. You're not a noob, so that's my advice. Tell him I sent you. He'll hook you up. Yeah. John Deere is the only one doing it. I have a vendor who prints out gating for patterns.
Oh yeah, a lot of big corporations are big 3D printers, and yeah,
it's crazy. LTX Design said, I'm almost positive a 3D printer housing started in Austin. Has a whole community here that started years ago.
Wild.
That house with the concrete was like, I think it was even like Discovery Channel or something, right? It was like big.
Yeah.
It was like a big deal.
Yeah, there was a whole TV show on it, and I'm watching. I thought, damn, this is in Illinois.
Right. Yeah. What is Gridfinity?
Gridfinity is a 3D printed storage and organization system. It is cool. There's a lot of things you can make with it.
So is it just like just a big long list of downloadable files, kind of like a community? Like
well, you've got the grid. You've got the grid you print, and then you could print all these different things to fit into the grid.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Those humidors don't go any lower than 10%, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, mine don't either. It's probably less than that. In fact, when I stood up to go over there to open the AMS lid, I got a static shock. So
yeah, I have one for my DTF printers, but that I have to keep that. I have all my woodworking laser stuff on the basement, but all my DTF, all that's all in my second floor. because I can't keep the two near each other, right? Because the dust and those printer heads will not like dust.
Well, I'll tell you what else doesn't like static is micro SD cards. Because if I'm holding one and I happen to touch something, I'm holding it wrong, I will corrupt that card
That sucks.
when the static hits it. So yeah, I'll always hold them in a little plastic thing before I go to load it into the printer. I will touch the printer first to discharge the static that's built up. And I'm not walking on carpet in here either. This is a linoleum floor or vinyl
You
floor.
know you have shag. It's okay.
Yeah, it's orange. Orange and gold
bright
shag.
green shag or the orange. LTX Design said, it unspools onto the top cover of the arm. My arm has been having issues from day one. I created a ticket like a year ago, never heard back, and just forgot about it.
Well, let me talk about Bamboo's tech support. We talked about this a little bit before we went live tonight. This printer right here is brand new. It doesn't work. So I submitted a support ticket, and we've been going up back and forth for over 2 weeks now. And I gave them the benefit of the doubt because it was the holidays. You know, they're closed and this and that. And they keep asking me questions, and I answer them, and then they ask me some more questions. And then they didn't read the response I gave before and asked me the same thing. I know what's wrong. It has a bad AP board, which is kind of like the motherboard. So I sold 2 of my Ender 3s and replace it with that X1. Well, it doesn't work. Now I'm 2 printers down. And the X1 will take the place of those 2 printers if it works. So I bought an AP board, and I gave them hell for me having to buy it. And I actually posted a video here yesterday about tech support on 3D printing companies. So I went over with Longer and Bamboo and Kitty and, of course, Creality, because that's the worst of all of them. So if you're on my channel and you want to see some tales about tech support, you can check that out. But I'm still waiting to hear back if they're going to do anything now about this. But that said, I have an A1 coming yet, and I really like the Bamboo printers. And this was the first time I've had to deal with their tech support, and just not impressed. On the other hand, my Kitty printer, I think I mentioned earlier, had a bad board on it, backer plate board, and I had the whole thing resolved in 24 hours, and they're in China. So, you know, tech support's a big thing, and I don't care if it's a 3D printer or laser, CNC, or whatever. You've got to have good tech support.
Yep.
As far as why your EMS is doing that, I really don't have any idea, unless one of the PTFE tubes has come on dislodged from its holder.
Maybe I would suggest recording a video when you're emailing them for support. Some of that actually doing it, right? Or see if you can duplicate the problem while it's happening.
Yeah.
It's hard to put in words like my stuff is tangling.
Now, one thing that you could probably do too is shoot a video of it happening and send that, and that's good. You know, a lot of the companies will say, well, send us a video of it not working. They're not powering up. Well, yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, I turned on the switch and it's not doing anything. Why do you need a video of that?
Right.
That happened with Creality. That's why I brought that up. I said, this thing doesn't even power up. Well, send us a video of it not working. I went, are you kidding me? But okay, here you go.
I forget what laser I had that when I first turned it on, it wouldn't move. And I had to write some code because I had it locked.
Faro.
Yeah.
Yep. They come locked. And that's just the greatest thing for the first time user is to get a laser that's brand new and you can't use it because it's locked and they don't tell you how to unlock it.
Yeah.
I actually made a video of that.
Yeah.
And how to get around that.
I think that's how I found you, Roger. I think that's how I first found you. Yeah, I turned it on. I'm like, what the hell? This thing, and you knew it was locked because you couldn't even manually move it. Like it's literally legit locked. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Chris said some appliances you need a science degree to operate. Yeah, it's becoming like that, unfortunately.
I actually have a little white noise generator. Help you go to sleep at night. When I bought that, it was like $9 on Amazon or whatever. That would be a cool thing. it's got like 9 buttons on it, and you've got to program them in a certain sequence. So then if you want to change the duration or the different white noise, I actually have to get the sheet out and look. It's easier for me to program the time on my watch than it is to set white noise on that little white noise generator.
By the time you read the direction, you're tired to go to sleep, right? It works.
Yeah.
Andy said, S-Free 1965. Andy, CNC V-Carve Pro and Carbine Create Pro. I've used Carbine Pro for about 3 years now, thinking about jumping over to V-Carve Pro.
If you're thinking about it, I'd say just make the jump. You're not going to regret going to Vectric. I've actually never heard anybody being like, "Oh wow, I shouldn't have never made that move." Now, I guess there's some use cases where maybe that's the case, but you're paying for VCarve Pro. That's a paid software. I'm pretty sure it's I don't know if it's they have a couple different options, payment options, but you're not going to be upset with VCarve Pro. I mean, it's just, I always say, like, all roads lead to Vectric. Like that, I started with a different software. I started with Carbide Create, and then I went to Fusion 360, and then I went to Vectric. Now I'm going. It'll be interesting. Stay tuned to my channel because I don't know what I'll be using with the new Shapeoko. With the Avid, I've used Vectric over the last few years to design everything. Carbide Create is the free version for Shapeoko users. So we'll see. I'll probably mess with Carbide Create a little bit, but honestly, I'll probably use Vectric for most things because you can use Vectric with the Shapeoko. They have a post processor in Vectric for Shapeokos. So,
Was there a huge cost to make that move?
so VCarve Pro is about $600.
Period.
One-time purchase. Own it forever. And that comes with one version upgrade. And then there's always if they release a new version, you don't have to upgrade. Like you could be running VCarve Pro version 6 right now. Like you don't technically have, you just don't get the new features that they keep adding, right? Mm-hmm. One-time purchase, it's yours.
And the updates are enough to make you want to update it. Like it's like, oh wow, that's a cool feature. Or they just seem like they're fixing bugs.
Depends. Like version 12, depends who you ask. Version 12, they updated the UI, the user interface, and they actually brought it from like before it looked like Windows 98.
Oh wow.
Now it looks more modern, and so but they also added other things. So like the really cool thing about Vectric is they're constantly innovating, constantly adding new toolpaths that are. It's just the biggest thing I hear. And this isn't just me. I think this, but the biggest thing I hear about Vectric is that it works the way that you feel like it should work. Like the way your mind works. And the way you design, like it just feels very natural. Yeah, it feels very natural. So, I love it. It's a great product.
Chris said, like Andy said, if the market's saturated, you're selling the wrong thing. 100%. Find your niche. The only thing that I would say that you could sell is when it is a saturated market is seasonal items. When Christmas time comes, every Home Depot, every Walgreens, every Walmart, everyone's selling Christmas themes. So if you want to jump on the bandwagon, do it. But don't expect to do that year round. But if you have seasonal items for all year round, like now you can hit 4th of July, now you can hit Memorial Day, now you can hit, those are items. But again, those are maybe saturated items. So that would be my only thing to say to dip your toes into that.
The other thing is personalization, right? Like, personalizing something, you could have and people like you have there's a lot of people that take extremely Alibaba generic products and personalize them, that actually, there's a reason why they do that. That actually works, because personalization, they're like, oh, you can put my name on that, or you can put my favorite, saying on that, or you can put, I've actually got a something that's not tapped into enough that I've been meaning to share, and it just popped in my head, so I'm going to share it with you all. I think the local high school markets are not tapped into enough, because most likely they don't have their logos. They're not going to come and ding you for using their logo. So like your local high school, your local sports teams, you think about baseball, you think about football, you think about all those different things, whether you're making name plaques or trophies or signs or whatever. That's actually a logo you can get away with using, and people are passionate about that because their kids go to that high school and they're willing to pay money for it.
Yeah. At my local Walgreens, they sell all my daughter's high school stuff, sweatpants, sweatshirts. I'm like, really? Kind of crazy. Yeah. Stand out in the crowd. Yep.
Comes up with something unique.
Paul definitely does that.
Yeah.
Paul is the artist.
Matter of fact, Paul, I apologize. The last time we actually invited you to the live, and then I sent an email. By the time I got it, I don't know what was the deal. Our live was pretty much over, so we definitely have to make arrangements before a live that you just join us, because if you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind you sharing some of your art. Just phenomenal. LTX Sign said, I just discovered I can make designs in Lightburn, export as SVG, and pull it into Bamboo. Pretty much exactly what you were saying earlier, Roger.
Yeah,
it's easier than using SolidWorks from scratch.
I not only do it for 3D printed stuff, but I do it on CNC things because I'm so used to using Lightburn. And I will say I'm very, very good in it, that it's actually quicker for me to design it in there and then just export it.
Yep.
Roger, what are you using to design like your 3D printed parts?
You're gonna laugh. Tinkercad.
Okay. I've heard of it. I've never used it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's free. It's very easy to learn because it's designed for children to learn how to 3D model.
Huh.
It's got little tutorials on it. It's very, very fast to learn, and it's way simpler than Fusion 360.
Maybe I need to go download this.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as powerful as Fusion or anything, but for simple designs, I mean, if you're going to make, something like this, that's designed in Tinkercad. Nothing to it.
That's awesome.
So what he just said is, are you smart as a fifth grader?
Basically.
Yeah. It's actually
challenge accepted.
One of my grandsons actually told me about it. He says, Grandpa, you ought to look at Tinkercad. You can learn how to make things there. Well, what the hell is Tinkercad? I was thinking Tinker Toys from when I was a little kid. So I looked it up and this is kind of cool.
That's
and
cool.
It took me no time at all to start designing stuff in it.
That's cool. There you go. Overnight success takes years, right?
Yeah, it can.
Yep.
Now, everybody sees this, and they don't see this. They just see when you got here. They don't realize this going to that path.
Yeah.
I
love the fact that I'm in the same time zone as the bulk of China tech companies.
Oh. Yeah, I found out with like with Longer, for example, I just sent them an email once, and it was like 3 a.m. because I have insomnia a lot, and I got a reply instantly because that's their business time.
Right.
But if you're, at 10 o'clock in the morning and you're sending an email to China, you're not going to get a reply till the next day. If you're lucky, if you have a good company, you'll get a reply the next day. It might take several days, or if you're a Creality, you may never hear anything.
Yeah, I don't honestly like, and I do have, I guess, an unfair advantage because we are influencers. I don't email any company, very rarely, because now when they contact me, I'm like, "What's your WeChat?" So it's like saying, "What's your cell phone number?" So
Yeah.
when I have a problem, bing. You know what I mean? Like, I have a problem, so I pretty much get responses right away. But like you said, Roger, most of the time it's pretty late at night I get a response, and it took my wife a little while to get used to that. You know, your phone going off at 11, and you're like, who are you talking to? You know damn well who I'm talking to. The chicks ain't lying up at the door anymore. I'm not 21 anymore. Someone from China, I guarantee it. Take a look, and there it is. Daniel said, "Don't buy refurbished 3D printers from eBay expecting to get refurbished. Ask me how I know."
That is absolutely true. Those are a lot of times you'll get those refurbished printers from eBay, and it'll be something that somebody sent back because they couldn't figure out how to use it, and they have just torn the hell out of it. They've cut wires. I mean, there's parts missing. And,
Oh,
no, don't do that.
yeah. Jeremy said, "Speaking of mixing CNCs and 3D printing, would you recommend learning Fusion or a single tool for CAD for both cases?"
Well, Tinkercad.
Yeah, I mean, start out in Tinkercad. Then if you want to move to Fusion, then go ahead. But
Yeah,
Fusion's got a hell of a learning curve.
Like, Fusion is super steep. It's super powerful, super powerful, but it's overkill for most applications. So
I would say too is that, like, let's just say you had to get geeky into something, but it's just over your head at the moment. Man, I think Fiverr would be your best friend. They have a lot of people who do CAD work. $5, you can pay someone from India or China to completely design something for you, and at least to get you going. You can edit that, right? But Fiverr is a good resource to get overseas items created for like next to nothing. $5. That's, just putting that out there. Because I'm sure Andy's not going to help you at 2:30 in the morning. He's going to say, "Figure it out."
say, hey, email support.
And he's going to be like, "Sure, the number is 1-900 Andy 24.99."
I like hear what Daniel's saying, and this is true. They just send out customer return 3D printers and deal with the fallout. And Creality's famous for this. So he's going to wait a couple of weeks for a part to be sent from China so he can fix it. And I have bought printers on eBay before that were returns, and most of the time it's going to be a box of crap, or it won't be packaged right. I had one where the glass plate wasn't packaged at all; it just bounced around in there, and I had a whole bunch of redneck diamonds when it came here. That's tempered glass, and it shatters into all them little tiny cubes.
Right.
And that was all over everything, and then trying to get something back from the seller, that was not a good experience. So I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, just meet people in dark alleys off Facebook Marketplace. You'll be all right. It's a lot better.
There you go.
That's what I do.
So a lot of companies farm out support to the same 3D party companies, which why you get the same response. Well, again, as Rick said, being an influencer, I actually have contacts with a lot of the companies. Yeah, of course, Bamboo I don't, but because I'm not an influencer for them, I bought all my Bamboo stuff. But some of the other companies, I know I'm dealing directly with the company. I actually, like with Longer, I actually have a rep I can talk to.
Yeah. Same with me.
But I can see where they would farm some of that stuff out. And you're thinking you're talking to somebody in China and they're actually in India. And,
Speaking of Longer, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say they do very similar things with their marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger, did you talk to Longer about the new Nano?
The Longo Nano Duo.
Yeah, the Nanu.
Yeah, Nanu. Hey, that's a good name for it.
Nanu.
Wait to see if they're going to send me one or not.
So I talked to them a couple of days, actually the day they first posted it, and they said they don't actually have them yet, and they said that they'd actually let us know.
Yeah, it's still pretty much a Kickstarter.
Right. They said we don't have them yet. They said we'll let you guys know. So when they said that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I assume maybe they'd reach out to do something, and then they asked me, of course, what was going on with the longer B1 video, and I said, all right, I'll release it, but I just didn't want to. I'll never say something's a great. This is what I'm saying about the longer B1. If you use this firmware right out the box, use the software right out the box, it's probably going to be, you're going to use every other F word or 4-letter word in the book, right? And if you just update everything and have everything updated before you even attempt to try to use it, you're going to love it. Like, it's probably your favorite laser ever you bought. But if you just use it right out the box, you're going to think it's a hunk of junk and want to send it back.
I must have had different firmware in mind, because from the time I put it together, I've never had an issue with it. Of course, I don't have the most current version either, but
I had so many problems. It was definitely being goofy. So I had like 8 or 9 distinct problems, and it took them maybe like 2-3 days to get back to me, and they had a resolution for each one, and they even made videos for me so that I can make videos to say it. So I can't complain. They were very responsive. Again, I'm saying this as an influencer. I have a direct contact the manufacturer. Now, if you bought it, I can't say you'd have direct, So when I put something out there and recommend someone to purchase, I'll definitely make the video. So if they run into the same problems, at least I have an easy resolution, because it was an easy resolution. But yeah.
I like this.
So I'm gonna read this one again. Some people ask, why do I read the comments? Everyone can read them themselves. Please do keep in mind that there are a lot of people that listen to our lives. They're not actually watching it. They're at work and they're kind of listening to us on their ear. So that's why I do read them out loud. So Chris had made a comment that he had to send pictures of a missing USB stick and sent a picture of his hand empty without a USB stick. Kind of comical, but the hoops you have to jump through sometimes. LTX9 said Vetric was way easier to grasp than Carbco was for me. I tried Fusion 360. Carbco then went to Vetric and never looked back.
Well, I have dropped Carbco. I was a Carbco user until lately here, where they absolutely require you to use what they call OneDrive if you have a Windows machine, and I don't want my stuff there. And there was no way around it, so I dropped them. So now I'll be switching to something else. I haven't decided what yet. Right now, I'm just using Easel.
Was the OneDrive because they weren't allowing you to save the files locally, and they wanted you to upload the files on OneDrive?
Yeah.
Or what is on OneDrive?
OneDrive is what Windows calls this.
No, I know what OneDrive is, but what I'm saying is what has to be saved to OneDrive? The files you're using?
Yeah, anything you do, you can't even open the software if you can't connect to OneDrive.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So I dropped them.
That's crazy. This light keeps turning off. What the heck's going on? Yeah, I have, Roger, because what we do for a living, my house is all VPN, all this crazy stuff, and blah, 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 blah. Even my phone, my personal phone is so crazy locked down. Like, I can't copy paste certain things on my own phone. You know what I mean? Just kind of crazy.
Well, back when we were talking about, QuickBooks, it's all cloud-based now. No, I'm not going to put my files up on the cloud, my financial information and credit card numbers and bank account numbers. No, I mean, there's hackers out there, and the computer that I do run QuickBooks on is not connected directly to the internet. Yeah. It's strictly a local WAN. It's a local network, and there's no outside connection to it at all.
Yeah, because I think I do have like an old version, like a 2000 version of QuickBooks that I actually bought on the CD from Best Buy. I think it was like $500, $400.
Oh yeah, it'll still work.
Yeah. Chris said, Andy, I make school pens for local high schools.
Nice.
So I had asked with lasers, what's one of the items that you purchased that was a regretful purchase and why in one of our lives? And the two things they said was rotary tables and the rotary arms. And when I asked why, most people said because they couldn't figure out how to use it. And I had to say guilty. And the reason I say guilty is because every single one of our lasers, I have a rotary arm and I have rotary tables and I've never used them once. So, but as I as I have been getting more and more lasers, I've been like using a laser for a specific item, kind of like niching that laser, so to speak. I am going to actually set up the rotary table designated to a laser, a 30-watt laser. So hopefully to make some pens and stuff like that. And I'll go through a tutorial on setting up that table and set up the rotary as well, because on a fiber laser.
Yeah,
I did that with my atom stack. I use it. It's just strictly got a rotary on it. I don't do a lot of rotary work, but it's such a hassle to switch back and forth that
Right.
that's all I do. But I think one of the most regrettable things that people purchase, think it's a great idea, is a laser camera. Because you can't keep them aligned unless it's something on a weak rate vision. I mean, that's got a good camera in it. It's necessary for the laser to work. But for these other ones to just like monitor your laser or get positions and stuff, and the flimsy ass arms they make for them and the mounts, they're just not worth the hassle.
John said, first time here, guys. I use Tinkercad all the time. Thanks for joining us, John. Where are you joining us from, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, Tinkercad's easy to learn.
Paul said, my daughter does sublimation. She found that local sports clubs like their own designs on water bottles. Ping me,
sure.
Rick, and I'm happy to jump on one evening.
Yeah, we do a lot of skinny tumblers for different organizations, and yeah, it's a good market.
Yeah. Daniel said 3D CAD's a lot easier to learn if you paid attention in geometry class.
That's true, but I had a horrible geometry teacher.
Yeah, I only took up to pre-algebra, and then when I went for my journeyman, I had to learn trigonometry. That was fun.
Actually, I found trig easier than geometry because my geometry teacher was such a B.
Yeah.
She didn't like boys with real long hair, and back then when I had hair and I had real long hair, so guys like us had to sit in the back of the room.
We're gonna have to see this picture, Roger. Well, they say prove it
Actually,
or it never happened.
My parents were so adamant about no pictures of me with my hair long, and there was a picture when I'm an Eagle Scout. I was in Boy Scouts. I got my Eagle, but when I did, I was in high school, and I had long hair, and my mother put it in a ponytail and tucked it inside the back of my shirt for the newspaper pictures. But there was one other picture of another guy and I in vocational electronics class. We repaired TVs that people donated, then we would give them to nursing homes. And
cool.
We had donated one up to the nursing homes here, and the local newspaper took our pictures. And I still have that newspaper clipping.
There you
My hair is almost halfway down my back.
Oh, we're gonna have to see
it's just all wide open, and
you heard it here, guys.
It's pretty. If I could find it, I will see if I can scan it. It's probably pretty yellow and faded by now. That was back in the 70s, but
so when I was like
your hair or the picture is faded?
Both. my hair was a lot darker back then in the 70s, and there was a lot more of it.
Daniel said, I think it's getting lucky this time, but it's my 4th refurbished printer, basically new. Yeah, luck of the draw. You know what it is that you bought something that was legitimately honest and someone didn't scam you. That's the problem. It's supposed to be that way, right? You're supposed to get a refurbished. Just unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. AGG Restore said, yep, I'm the one who listens at work. So thank you for reading them. Can make it a lot easier to answer. See, it's exactly so. People ask that question all the time. So just putting it out there why we do so. I don't just like to hear my own voice. Chris, I'm about to look at OneDrive redirector back into your own machine. I hope it works. So he's going to try to hack it. At the end of the day, even if you're doing a mirror image and you're saving it locally, you're still uploading it to it, right? So you're just kind of carbon copying your hard drive, I guess. LTX, and I'm guilty for never using my rotary either. My big CO2 came with the rotary, and I've never touched it. Yeah. Every single laser I have a rotary, and I've never used my rotary once.
You know,
So.
I've got an idea here. You know, we haven't done a giveaway here in a few weeks. Maybe I'll give away a Ortur rotary, brand new in the box, never been opened. Maybe we'll do that next week
Okay.
because I'll never use it. It came with the laser, but I won't use it. I've got one on my Atom stack, and I've got another X-Tool one too with a 3-jaw and everything else. I don't need the Ortur, and that Ortur rotary can be used on not just an Ortur laser, but any laser that has a Y-axis on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So next week, if you've got a laser and you want to get a rotary, we're going to do a giveaway.
There you go. Sounds good. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that, brother.
Awesome.
South Jersey in the building. I used to live in Jackson, New Jersey. Here we go. Also guilty of never using the built-in camera on my CO2, shaking my head. It's Confession Wednesday today, guys. Not just happy
Now
day.
I can see here, only use cameras with my lasers for monitoring. I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm generally in the same room as my lasers when I have them running. So I just don't screw with the cameras.
Yeah. Why did I immediately picture Roger with long hair and a Firebird screaming eagle on the hood?
You're close. I had a 1970 Dodge Hemi Charger.
Mm.
Nice. He said, "Boy, do I
wish I still had that because they're worth a fortune."
Right.
Yeah. I know, man. There's a what's the name of the website? I'll find it here. It's a charitable organization that does these giveaways, and they give them money to like veterans and hold on, what's it called? Dream Giveaway. They're in Largo, Florida, like dreamgiveaway.com. They have like badass hot rods all the time. And they donate it. So whenever I see an old Charger on there, or I'm always submitting my entries. But yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff. Right now they're giving away 2 Shelbys, the Shelby F-150 and the Shelby Mustang matching. Like, wow. Damn. They got a Ford GT. What is it? The F. What is that? Looks like a Formula Racing 1 car. Yeah, but that is crazy. So it goes to a good cause. Yeah, the Ford GT, a 2005. It's worth like $500,000. That's crazy. So
it's wild.
I don't know. Every now and then I throw $30 at it and see what happens. And if I didn't win anything, I helped out somebody who was in the military or something. Whatever. Chris Gallagher said, I remember back in the day, hair down, beard down, belt.
My big thing was the big lamb chop sideburns. You know, the ones that came out to your mustache, and yeah.
It was the Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Easy Rider. Mark said, what was the program that forced you to use OneDrive?
Carveco.
Chris said, it redirects OneDrive before leaving the machine. Before leaving the machine.
I don't use OneDrive, and the main reason I don't use it is we have so many different computers here. We have 11 of them, and I don't want them all attached together, and I don't want to set up separate OneDrives. I just don't use it. If I want to save something common to all the computers, I'll put it on one of our servers. We also have 2 servers.
Yeah. I used to like Google used to have a program called GBridge. It was insane. You can map link your drives, and it wasn't cloud-based, but it was an easy way to actually remote access in. And as long as you had the software installed, you could just add that drive to the drive, and from your cell phone, anything to access your computer. I used to love that software, but they no longer support it. It just stopped working one day.
Too many hackers can get you that way. That's what
I don't know.
That was a problem I had. That was a problem I had was the hackers. It was so easy to hack.
Maybe, but yeah, I never had a problem. I guess I didn't have anything interesting to go after. Andy, have you been using? Daniel said, Andy, have you been using Summer Nights Cruise in Somerset?
Have I been to it? No, I haven't. Somerset's not too far from me, but I've never been to it.
Well, actually, you know what? I just looked at my phone. Looks like we just creeped on 8:30. Man, that came by fast. A ton of questions today. Thank you guys for joining us today's live. Appreciate all the questions. Appreciate you tuning in. And we're back to our normal schedule, so make sure to hit us next week. And as you heard earlier, Roger's willing to bless somebody with a rotary that you could use on your laser. So very cool, and they're not cheap. So
no, this isn't the cheap model either. This is the one with the jaws and all the gizmos and doodads and widgets and whatnots on it. So, yeah, brand new in the box. You never even opened it.
nice,
Didn't need to.
nice one. So I'd ask everyone still keep Roger's wife in your prayers. You know she's still recovering, so they
Appreciate
say,
that.
when 3 or more pray, that the Lord will be with you. So I ask that we pray in powers. It's not doing a Baptist church semen, but I'd appreciate it. That's all. Thank you guys for joining the live. You guys want to say anything on the closeout?
No, great live tonight.
Yep. See everybody next week.
Yeah, see you next week, and
Okay.
hopefully Steve can join us next week.
Yep. Yeah, I think he just had something come up this week. He replied to our email chain. So, all right, I'll see you guys next week.
Next week.
Yep. Bye.
All right, we'll see you.